denying that we've always been the conscience of this country. KBLA Talk 1580 is progressive talk radio built for our community, by our community, and with hosts who look like you, live near you, and care about what you care about. 50,000 watts of truth right here in Southern California. KBLA Talk 1580. Listen live on your AM radio dial at 1580 or stream us live on our KBLA1580.com website or on our free KBLA 1580 app.
Unapologetically progressive.
Take me back to LA. Take me back to LA. Take me back to LA. I've laughed and I've cried. I've lived and I've died. Stole from, gambled and cheated. Cut corners outside. I've tried and I failed. Stood tall when they run. I fought a cold war in the dead of the hot sun. Now take me back to LA.
KBLA Talk 1580. We are back to LA indeed in more ways than one. It's election season. You know that. You just heard Tavis talking to Representative Jim Clyburn. Tavis and Representative Clyburn with a special message. And now we are back to our coverage of election 2026, the primary election to be exact. And we are actually, I think by the time June 2nd arrives, which is your last day to vote, we will have talked to every single one of the mayoral candidates. So I'm excited about that. Many other candidates for judge and other offices, the interviews are there. You can find them on YouTube. You can find them wherever you get your podcasts. We've talked about the ballot measures. So hopefully you will be ready because voting is now. A lot of us already have our ballots, and the last day to vote is the 2nd day of June, the very last day to vote. If you're mailing your vote, do it early. They might not be counting the ones that are mailed on the day of because they won't get there in time, or drop it in a county drop box. We have joining us live in studio another candidate for Los Angeles mayor. He's born in Santa Monica, a second-generation Ukrainian American, graduated in political science from UCLA, but has had a career in technical project development. We'll let him tell you about it. He wants your vote for mayor of Los Angeles, Andrej A. Welcome. Selivra?
Selivra. Selivra will believe you.
Okay. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you guys opening up the space.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming in. Let's start with the basic. Why do you want this job?
Want is an interesting way to phrase it. I'll be honest with you. When I made the decision to run for mayor, it was something that was it was really not easy for me to make. And to say that I wanted it, I don't know even that would be accurate. Well, look, LA is my home. I love this city. I love Los Angeles, truly. Like, I would fight and die for this city. I mean, it's an incredible city. It's the best city in the world, in my opinion. And I've traveled. I've been to like 58 countries. I lived in China for a little while, lived in Russia for a little while, been all over. And let me tell you, I will always, 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 always come back to Los Angeles. I want to live here. I want to die here. This is my home. I love the people. I love the culture. I love the talent. I love the diversity. I love, everything about this city. It's a city that was built by people of every corner of the earth. Literally every corner of the earth, people have contributed here in Los Angeles, and it makes the city just so incredibly unique that I'm so proud to call it my home. And so, when I decided to run, it wasn't because I wanted to run. Truly, I have a very successful technology career. I'm like one of the top technology experts in my field. Big companies hire me to like help them with their really serious projects. Companies like Macy's, Costco, Home Depot, Fashion Nova, right? These are like billion-dollar international companies that hire me to help them with their broken systems.
What kind of system?
All sorts. It can be, project management tooling, such as like, where's the project moving and who's paying for it, and where's the money that's being allocated? What are the team members on it? What are the states of the different,
through software.
Yeah, so I do software. I also do just systems architecture. So a system is just any like series of processes, right? And so we'll create like a systems map, and this could be something like a pick and pack procedure at a warehouse, right? So like, what's the process by which we pull the product, and then where do we stage it, and then what kind of carton or box does it get? How do we do our inventory management, right? How do we allocate? There's a lot of different little technical things. I can go into the nerdy whatever, but ultimately, I'm a process-oriented person. That's what I get paid to do, is to fix processes, and I use technology a lot to solve these tools, right? So I write code, I build apps, I do all this myself. I can build databases that are production databases that can handle literally millions of concurrent users, right? I've built these for like multinational corporations so that they can manage what's happening inside of their organization. Right? Mm-hmm. I've noticed that inside of our city's organization, things aren't getting done. It's clear that the tools, the processes that our city's using, they're broken. I'm the person that people call when they need those things fixed. And this is my home. And I know I have a very relevant skill set for this job. Like, I know that I could contribute in a way that would, I think, very meaningfully help a lot of people, not just like this, people at City Hall, but the people of our city generally, and I recognized that, late last year. I was like, man, I think I could help here, and
okay,
so I decided to run.
So there's another candidate who's also an engineer.
Assad Al-Najjar.
Yeah,
and great.
And so what is happening right now? Are the engineers saying we can do this better than the politicians or better than the experts? It's like, what is happening right now? Are the engineers turning into Monday morning quarterbacks?
Well,
what is going on?
I think we're fed up with not seeing the kind of progress that we know that we can make, right? We as engineers, we are builders. Right? By nature, we build, we reevaluate, we work with teams of people to like get things done. The people that we keep electing, they're lawyers, they're legislators, they're bureaucrats, right? They push paper, they write law.
In the case of our mayor right now, she's a community organizer. She's not a bureaucrat. She's been a politician for some time, but she started as a community organizer. And
that's great. We love community organizers, but they tend to not be great at executive roles, right? Because there's two different types, and this is the same in any organization.
Obama did pretty well.
President Obama did well, and again, I will say that was a testament to a lot of it to the people he had around him. He had really fantastic people surrounding him, and I think that matters a lot. I haven't seen the same from our current administration. It seems like there's been a lack of what I would consider high quality talent around Mayor Bass, truly, and I don't mean this with disrespect. It just means that, look, you got to know who to pick for some of these jobs, and it's clear that some of the people that have been picked are not people that I would have picked.
Can you name a mayor that you think had a great administration, someone you'd admired and looked up to, who had great people around them, according to your criteria?
Absolutely. Tom Bradley, certainly. I think probably the best mayor in Los Angeles history, Tom Bradley. He did so much to unify our city and to, reform police culture, he himself being former law enforcement and, just a strong leader. And I think that's what matters, right? Is that, the person who moves into the executive role, they need to have a network of people that are high talent people around them, right? Because the mayorship is not a one person job, right? It's a 20, 30 person plus person job. And you have to have a network of people that that are high quality individuals that you can bring into these roles. I haven't seen that, unfortunately, from Mayor Bass, right? The person that she put in charge of LASA, right, was a friend of hers that her daughter works for.
Who was also a PhD and well qualified, who seemed to take the blame for decades of mismanagement.
Perhaps, but again, is it just a coincidence that she was Mayor Bass's longtime friend, or was she ultimately truly the best person in the city for that job? Right, same thing. Her deputy chief of fire, right, who she put in charge to handle during the Palisades fires. he had such a difficult time working with Bass. He said he was so stressed working with her that he called in a bomb threat to City Hall 4 months before the Palisades fires.
You're talking, well, I don't know if he blamed Bass, but what you're talking about is the deputy mayor of public safety. He wasn't just over fire, he was over interaction with law enforcement. He clearly had some kind of mental health breakdown. I don't know that you can blame the mayor for that.
From what I understand, he made comments that his difficulty working with, and I could be wrong about this, but double check me, that he had difficulty working with the mayor, and he got so stressed.
I am going to double check you, because to say that
do.
someone that's having serious enough mental health problems that they would call in a bomb threat to City Hall is attributable to your mayor, I think that's a bit of a stretch. But anyway, your point is you feel like you are better qualified to bring in the people you would need, which I assume is why you think that you could be mayor, which is pretty much the top job in the city, with zero experience in elected office. Yeah,
so, here's the thing, is that ultimately at the end of the day, City Hall is an organization, right? It's a large organization with a bunch of people in different types of offices, different types of teams. I've worked with large organizations with like thousands of employees, with dozens of different teams, and we have different types of roles. You have executive roles, you have implementation roles, you have support roles, right? These are the same thing at City Hall. And not only that, but I will say that I can guarantee you that the tools and the organizational infrastructure that we use in private enterprise far surpasses anything that's used at City Hall. Like I've seen the software and the technologies. They have 8 people working across 4 different teams, all doing the same job. Why? Because they don't have a strong organizational chart. They don't know who's working on what and where the redundancies are and what types of jobs they could be consolidating and who they could be moving around. All this is to say is that, we keep getting a lot of people that we're electing into office are, like I said, they're institutional, but they're not builders. These people aren't people who build things. And that's what we need right now. Things are crumbling, right? Our systems are crumbling. Our infrastructure is crumbling. Our city's crumbling. We need builders. This is why I think the engineers like me and Assad and other people are starting to step up, because we understand that, hey, look, things right now need to be rebuilt. We need to build. Sometimes there's a time for administration when things are good and, everything's kind of working and flowing. Great, let's bring in the administrators, right? But right now we need builders, and that's why I'm running.
We're talking with Andrej Selivra. He's a mayoral candidate, and we will continue the conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
Let's celebrate.
Y'all did it.
Loving each other, needing each other.
Hey, Los Angeles, KBLA Talk 1580 is turning 5, and we're celebrating in a big way.
Oh my God!
Join us Friday, June 19th, Juneteenth, 4 to 7 p.m. at the Beehive for our 5th anniversary bash and Juneteenth celebration. We're talking surprise celebrity guests, a special presentation, and a major announcement you will not want to miss.
I can't wait to hear it.
Plus, live music, dancing, games, and enough food and drink to keep the party going.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Of course, you're welcome to bring your own picnic basket, blanket, and lawn chair. And the best part, it's completely free. But here's the thing. You've got to sign up in advance. Space is limited, so don't wait. Head to KBLA1580.com right now and lock in your spot. Friday, June 19th, The Beehive, KBLA Talk 1580. 5 years strong, and we're just getting started.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
Yeah, man.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason, weeknights at 7 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580, with a personal invitation for you to join me and Insight.me as we present The Healing Box, live at Inglewood's world-famous Miracle Theater, Saturday evening, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Look, I understand your attachment style has been running your life like a rogue algorithm, and nobody has had the courage to press pause. boss. Until now, Dr. Bakoya McCall and yours truly are curating a night where clinicians, spiritualists, and an all-star panel of Black woman healers like Dr. Shalonda Sunshine Crawford, Dr. Jashana Johnson, and spiritualist Precious McGill will join some amazing spoken word artists and the legendary comedian Louis Dix to diagnose, disrupt, and heal your relational wreckage in real time. Listen, bring your trauma. As a matter of fact, bring your baby mama. No, bring your testimony. And if you're still texting your ex at 2 a.m., baby, you're not just invited, you're the target demo. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before your dating history gets flagged as a pre-existing condition. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you there Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-729-7070. That's 1-800-729-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-729-7070. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Andrej Selivra is here. He is a candidate for LA Mayor. He wants your vote, and he'll tell you why. He is a tech guy, engineer. And, you know, you kind of said you felt pressed to this. One thing I wanted to note that it's refreshing to hear you say you love LA and all the great things about it. So many of our candidates right now are running on this idea that LA is going to hell in a handbasket. And I did hear you say it's falling apart a little bit, but I think what was the famous Vincent quote? The famous quote from the actor says the rumors of my demise have been greatly exaggerated.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about Los Angeles. Everyone, I feel like if you were on the outside and you were hearing all of the election talk, you would think that it was a dump, and it's actually quite a lovely place.
Yes, I would largely agree. And so like I said, I am an engineer, so I do try to look at things like objectively, right? And all things considered, LA is still a phenomenal city. I mean, overwhelmingly, like there is so much good here, and that like the media, the negativity that LA and that California gets in the media is greatly exaggerated. Truly, I mean, there are people I've noticed. The people who hate California, who hate Los Angeles the most, are always the people who don't live here. You know what I mean? Right, like it's the people who've never really spent time here. They don't know our people. They don't know our culture. I think there's a little bit of envy going on there, a little bit of projection. People wish they could live in LA. They wish that they could, be here, but it's tough. It's expensive. It's not super affordable. I think the issue with Los Angeles right now is that for those of us who've been here for a while, right? For those of us who've been here for more than 10, 15 years, right? We know what LA looked like in the 90s, in the 80s, 90s, the 2000s, and we know what it looks like today. And I think a lot of us have seen a noticeable decline in the just general, services, safety.
It's so interesting because maybe that depends what neighborhood you're from.
It does a little.
To be honest with you, for me, the 90s were drive-bys. You couldn't get a cab. There were no restaurants in South LA where there were body bags piling up. We were looking at maybe 1,000 dead bodies every year. Yeah. Now we're in the hundreds. Now, to me, it's quite the opposite. If I compare what I saw, other than the unhoused situation, in the 90s versus LA now, I would say it's better now.
And I think I would like I said, overall, I agree with you. I think the issue that we're seeing is that we saw a lot of progress from 1990 to like the mid 2010s, like through the Obama years, through, 2015, 2016. And since then, in the last, 10 years, since about 2016, we've seen, and again, I'm going to say part of this is certainly due to Donald Trump, certainly, right? He's shown like exceptionally poor leadership, and he's just really tanked the confidence of all people, and not just in our country, but also around the world. I mean, he's really like truly a horrible leader. You know what I mean? Like he's really put a stain on America and in our people and other people's confidence in America. Truly, it's despicable. And so that's part of it. But the other part is that I think that we started building, right? And what happened was, as you start to build, and we built through the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s. This is very common, especially we see this in my field. When we start to build things, sometimes you overcomplicate the build, right? You keep adding without reevaluating like how all these things are working together. And so that's what we did. We did that in LA. We built all these new departments and all these new budgets, and now we're starting to see it's become unmanageable. It's spaghetti, right?
So I mean, in one such area that could definitely fall into that category is homelessness and our response to the homelessness.
Certainly.
I know that you say that you lived in your car for a time.
Yeah.
And you point to affordability, that you were inside of the foster care system because of substance abuse in your own biological family. You ended up in foster care.
Yeah.
So how does that change your perspective on how we should deal with unhoused folks and people coming out of foster care, which, by the way, is something that Karen Bass has been a huge champion of?
Yeah. And like, I applaud her for that. Truly. I mean, homelessness is one of those things that nobody should have to experience. Truly, like the fact that we can't provide every single human with a safe roof over their head and 3 meals a day, no matter what their personal economic, it's a failure on our people. Truly, you know what I mean? Like if we lived in villages, thousands of years, we wouldn't just let some people sleep outside in the jungle or whatever. We would make sure everyone at least had an accommodation. And the fact that we haven't done that, and that we've neglected to provide at least basic accommodations for every single human alive in our country, when we clearly have the resources to do it, that's a failure, right? That's a failure on us as a people, but more specifically on our leadership, right? Because our leadership should be identifying this as a number one problem. And so, but the question is, how do we do this, right? How do we provide a roof? And that's the problem that we keep running into. I'm an engineer, so I look at, real problems, real solutions. What can we do? One of the most effective models that we can use to treat homelessness is to use what's called economies of scale, bringing lots of people together under collective roofs, social housing, right? I'm a proponent of a dormitory style model. We have multi-room and single-room occupancy dormitory rooms, converting underused commercial and office spaces for adaptive reuse and making those into 200 to 500 beds at a time with wraparound social services available to the general public on the ground floor. And I think this is how we can economically address the widespread homelessness.
I mean, I did see that on your campaign website, that you want these dorms and that you're addressing the NIMBY, not in my backyard attitudes by wanting to put them in commercial areas rather than residential areas. A couple things about that. One, my understanding is that one of the reasons unhoused people leave the accommodations that they have is because they want to be in the neighborhoods that they come from.
Yeah.
They don't want to be in an army barracks somewhere or in some commercial area.
Well,
so how do you deal with that?
First of all, I'm not suggesting that we send these people out to the desert like some people are, right?
Right.
But if you're 5, 6, 7 blocks south of the standard residential area and a little bit more, you can still walk over to the residential area if you need to. And the truth is look, when you're unhoused, I'm sorry, you don't get to choose where you want to live. We're making a bed for you. We're providing a dignified accommodation for you. You got to go where it's reasonable, right? And you may not like that. You may not say, oh, I'd rather be on the street over by this park and live in this park. Well, that park is for families and for everyone else too, right? It's not like your private park. The public has an interest in that park and making sure there aren't people just sleeping in their tents in that park. And so, I think that we want to respect the dignity of our homeless because they're humans. We want to respect their dignity, but we don't, I think that we've taken it almost too far sometimes where we let our unhoused feel like they can just call the shots on wherever they want to live. And that's just not how it works, right? What was the old saying? Beggars can't be choosers. I've lived under that personally. I've been a beggar, right? And I knew I'm not a chooser. When I'm begging, I'll take what's available to me. Why? Because I'm grateful that there's anything available to me. And so I think that we need to kind of take this more, public interest approach a little bit more seriously about. And again, like I said, I'm not saying shift these people off to the desert or anything, right? I'm saying like let's put them in a place where it's more suitable to like a hospital, right? Because we have medical hospitals. When you break your leg, when you get cancer, when you get, a severe illness, why don't we have social hospitals, right? When you've fallen on hard times, when you're experiencing mental problems, when you're having drug abuse issues, right? We should have social hospitals. And those places, again, we don't put our medical hospitals in residential areas. We shouldn't put our social hospitals in residentials either.
You're talking about mental health.
Well, so these are the dormitories. The dormitories are a form of a social hospital.
Got
right?
you.
Yeah.
We only have 30 seconds till news, traffic, and sports. We'll keep it on.
Okay.
We'll keep it going on the other side. But of course, the other big question is who pays for these dormitories?
Yeah.
And I'll ask you to put your engineer hat on too, and talk about how. We've heard time and time again that converting a mall or converting an office building into housing is not as easy as it sounds.
Yeah, and so part of that's building codes, and this is just red tape. We can cut through red tape. We can get the help of the governor's office and the help of the state to help us push past this. But here's the truth, right? Karen Bass's Inside Safe program's costing somewhere around $80,000 per year to house one person, right? A public dormitory style model gets that cost down to about $15,000 per year. So you're talking about a savings of around $60,000 to $65,000 per person. For every two people, that's $130,000. We can use that money instead on social services, on humans, right? Creating jobs and helping people with people, not just putting them in a box somewhere in a private motel room, but
Andrej Selivra is our guest, and we'll continue the conversation after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump says more prescription drugs are being added to the Trump RX website.
So we've slashed the price of dozens of commonly used prescription drugs by differences of 400, 500, and even 600%.
Speaking at the White House event, he said the expansion will significantly increase discounted medications and could save Americans hundreds of billions in costs. Memphis police say a bomb threat forced an evacuation at the National Civil Rights Museum over the weekend. The facility was cleared as a precaution while authorities searched the area. No explosives were found, and the incident came the same day the museum unveiled its new legacy experience. And Kanye West's planned concert in India has been canceled after a series of European show disruptions. Organizers say the New Delhi event set for May 23rd was called off due to security concerns. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Hard Rock Casino Tejon, where every bite equals rewards time. Savor bold flavors at deep cut steak and seafood. Discover your love for Pan Asian at Yu or grab a classic at Hard Rock Cafe. Sign up for Unity by Hard Rock today. Must be 21 years of age or older. Problem gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell said the league is cooperating with Florida Attorney General James Uthmire, who issued a subpoena against the NFL as part of his investigation into the league. Uthmire is investigating the NFL for potential civil rights violations related to the league's Rooney Rule. Uthmire wants the league to get rid of the Rooney Rule, which the league implemented in 2003 to help promote diversity and hiring practices. If the league does not comply, Uthmire said he will file a civil rights lawsuit against the league. Uthmire said the Rooney Rule is blatant race and sex discrimination. Let me break this down for you. Those are code words for individuals and groups who think white people have been passed over for coaching and high-level positions by minorities, specifically African Americans. At the moment, Goodell said there are no plans to get rid of the Rooney Rule. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Let's be real. For too long, too many of our students have sat in overcrowded classrooms in underfunded public schools.
But as head of the San Diego School Board, Richard Barrera changed that.
Under Barrera's leadership, student literacy rose from the state average all the way to #1 among major urban school districts. Barrera led the way for smaller classrooms and for teachers to be paid what they're worth.
Barrera funded more counselors and mental health services, and community schools that teach real-world skills for future jobs.
A community organizer who became an education leader to fight for our kids. the only candidate for State Superintendent of Public Instruction.
Backed by the 310,000 classroom educators of the California Teachers Association. Vote Democrat Richard Barrera for State Superintendent.
Ad paid for by California Teachers Association Independent Expenditure Committee, not authorized by a candidate or committee controlled by a candidate.
Going to a World Cup match in LA this summer? Ditch the parking stress and ride Metro. With direct service from across LA County, it's the easy way to get there for just $1.75 each way.
Let me tell you something about Los Angeles. This city doesn't have small problems, so it damn sure doesn't need small, weak leadership. That's why I support Karen Bass. She walked into a system that was slow, broken, and reluctant to change. She cut through red tape and started moving people off the streets into housing. She created the Office of Community Safety to make our neighborhoods safer, supported wage increases for many underpaid workers, expanded contract opportunities for small minority business, and signed an executive order to give formerly incarcerated people a second chance. Karen Bass is about real change. I'm Samuel L. Jackson, and I've seen a lot of people talk tough. Karen Bass is tough. That's why I'm voting for Karen Bass, and you should too. So vote today. You received your ballot in the mail by now. You don't even have to go to the polls. Just fill out your ballot and hand it to your postal worker. No stamp needed.
Paid for by Re-elect Karen Bass for Mayor 2026, 445 South Figueroa Street, Suite 2400, Los Angeles, California 90071. Funding details at ethics.lacity.gov.
The joint will be jumping. Ebony Repertory Theater, in association with Fig Street Films, brings you one of the most beloved musicals of all time. Tony Award winner, Ain't Misbehavin'. The soulful, swinging celebration of the music of Fats Waller. From the rollicking to the romantic, this show is pure magic, full of the songs that defined an era and the voices that'll make you forget everything else for a night. Foot-stomping, heart-stirring, unforgettable. Don't miss Ain't Misbehavin' at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center, starring Lettucey, directed by Ren T. Brown. This is the night out you've been waiting for. Tickets are going fast, so don't wait. Grab yours now at ebonyrep.org or call the box office today at 323-964-9766. Ebony Repertory Theater, bringing the culture, keeping the legacy alive.
Ain't Misbehavin' runs May 21st through June 8th at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center. Get your tickets now.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth.
Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome. We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
Andrej Selivra is my guest. He wants your vote for mayor of Los Angeles, and he's here to tell you all about it. He's an engineer. And I know, time flies when you're on the radio. Engineer.
Yeah.
You talk about fixing systems.
Yeah.
But, a city is not a machine. It has a lot of X factors. It's got humans that you have to manage. It has homeowners and homeless people and cops and robbers and there's a lot going on. It's not something you can simply code.
No, you're right. It's not. Well, look, any organization, right? And our city is an organization. City Hall is an organization. This radio station is an organization, right? Churches are organizations. All, every type of place that you go around where there's people working together towards a collective goal, that's an organization, right?
Indeed.
I'm one of the top organizational experts in the United States. So when I say I'm an engineer, I'm a systems engineer, right? So I'm not necessarily the guy who's working on aircraft carriers and mechanics. I'm the guy who's looking at the process, right? Where are the people? Where are the head counts? Where are the, things that we could be using technology to help our people and empower them where we're not? Where are there places where we are, a process that's taking 4 weeks could be taking 1 week if only we had a tool for it.
But you'll forgive us if we're all a little bit skeptical after Doge about waste, fraud, and abuse coming from tech bros.
Well, look, those are not well-qualified tech people. Right. That's the truth. I'm a much higher quality, technical systems expert than any of those people. Elon Musk can't build half the stuff that I can build. I promise you. I'm one of the top experts in the United States at what I do. I build the databases. I code them myself. I create the processes. I work with teams. Right. There's lots of people. Right. I work with, executive teams. I work with the people in the warehouse. I'll go and sit there working in the warehouse myself with the people on the ground to understand what their process is. Just the same way I would go work with the, street services people in Los Angeles and the worker crews who are like helping clean our streets to figure out what their process is. Right. All around the city, everywhere you go. And I know this because I've talked to city employees. All they talk about and bemoan is how long it takes to get anything done and approved. That's a process. That's a system. That's a system's failure, right? When people are just talking about how long it takes and all that, whatever, those are systems that are breaking. And again, our systems need to be constantly reevaluated. A lot of these were established in the 80s and the 90s, and we actually have technology that can actually improve a lot of this stuff now, right? In fact, I've been using AI to like great success, especially in our campaign. I'd say it's one of the things that actually makes our campaign more competitive than most of the other campaigns, is that we have tools that literally give us analysis of the other candidates and what's happening in our media. And it like, we can feed it back information, and it tells us like, what types of strategies we should be looking at, or, opportunities for places where we could go for events where there's going to be people. Using these kinds of tools and technology can save literally thousands of man hours, right? That's a time that can be put into something else where those people are more meaningful using their time.
Can also, as a member of the Screen Actors Guild, it can also take away jobs.
Well, so there's generative AI, and then there's, what I would say assistive AI, right? Generative AI is the one that's taking away jobs. That's the one that's like, trying to, and I'll tell you, I've been using that stuff too. It's not that good. Like it'll never, I don't think it'll replace humans in a meaningful way. People are afraid of it, and the tech companies are trying to sell us on this fear. Don't listen to them. It's medium at best without human oversight. And even with humans really inputting a lot into it, it still doesn't produce anything as near high quality as a 100% human produced production or art.
I don't want to, go down the rabbit hole. I'd love to have a conversation with you about that on another day.
No,
we're really interested in that around here. Yeah. But I asked you, how do we pay for this? You have an idea about dorms, putting people in dorms, to bring the cost down for the unhoused. I don't know if that also applies to affordable housing for people who aren't unhoused, but how do you pay for it?
Yeah. So, well, look, the city of Los Angeles, we already have a huge budget to address the homelessness issue, right? We had like $1.3 billion. There's still around another $900 million left unspent in terms of, total funds that have been allocated for this. So it's not a question of whether or not we have the money. It's how we're spending the money, right? And if we want to use the current model, the Inside Safe model, that's $7,000 a month per person, it would cost us something like $5 or $6 billion to house every single homeless person in Los Angeles, something like 45,000 homeless people at a cost of like $80,000 per year. It's untenable. We just literally can't do it. So we need a model. We need a scalable model, like a dormitory style model that can bring this cost down to $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 per year per person.
But to be fair, when you talk about the homeless infrastructure, it also includes nonprofit service providers that offer some of the things you're talking about, including in these dorms, right? So when you talk about $15,000 per person, you're talking about just the cost of housing. That doesn't include mental health services. It doesn't include other kind of support services that are needed to get someone. I mean,
right.
You may be unique. You went from your car to being an in-demand, technical engineer, but
thanks to the city, but yes, thanks to the wonderful people and all the opportunity here in the city. But like you said, I think you identified a really important thing, right? Is that yes, the housing is only a small portion of that, but the reason why we need to bring the housing costs down, or the reason why we need to reduce the cost of the roof, is so that we can spend the extra money on humans, right? And if we keep spending $50,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year to house one person, there's not enough money left in the budget.
I understand what you're
saying.
Speaking of the budget, I'm speeding up because we run out of time so quickly here. Yeah. How would you change it? That's a kind of a system, isn't it?
It absolutely
How would you change the budget? Do you agree with our controller, Ken Mejia, that we ought to do 2-year budgeting? Do you agree with many activists that we ought to cut down the amount of money that we're spending on law enforcement? How would you change what you're seeing? We're right in the middle of budget season.
Yeah. Kenneth Mejia, very smart young man. I trust his judgment. I've talked with him a lot personally. If he recommends a 2-year budget cycle, I would very strongly consider that. I'd want to do more, but truly, I mean, he's a smart guy. So I think that if that's what he's saying, then that would probably make, I'd say there's a high probability that would be smart. In terms of the budget, the police budget's fine. Honestly, we have, we spend like, what is it, $3.3 billion a year or something like that on police. It's like literally our city's number one expense. It's crazy. It's huge.
Yeah, it's close to half of our. It's about
like
half
40%
of
or something
our
of our city budget.
Yeah, of our free funds, funds that are not restricted.
And here's the thing with the police.
And
also.
why is that fine? It's a huge. It's why would we want to spend that much?
Well, what I'm saying is we don't need to increase it. That's what I mean. It's like,
but do we need to decrease it, or
we need to spend smarter? This is what I'm all about, right? Spend the money smarter. It's not about how much money there is. It's about how we're spending it, right? Same thing with the homeless, right? We're spending $80,000 per person because we're spending $20. LAPD, we spend about $160,000 per officer. Why? Because their base pay is $90,000 to $110,000 a year, and then they're making $50,000, $60,000 a year in overtime, right? And actually, I've been told that some of the police, they're actually limiting how many police that they recruit. They don't want more police on because when there's fewer police, they get to add up their overtime. So I think one of the things we got to do, we got to cap overtime. Overtime should be capped at 30% of your salary. Whatever your salary is, you make $100,000 a year, you can make $30,000 or $40,000, maybe 40% in overtime. But you shouldn't be making double your salary in overtime. The other thing is we keep running into this issue. We have to pay so much for LAPD officers. We have to pay $120,000 to $180,000 per officer because nobody wants to join LAPD. Why don't people want to join LAPD?
Maybe because they kill more people than just about any other police agency in the country.
Exactly. There's a really bad culture problem at LAPD, right? The people of our city don't support LAPD because they keep shooting rubber bullets at us. They keep beating the heck out of us. You know what I'm saying? And they need to stop. And this is where this falls on the mayor. Mayor Bass has not taken a strong enough stance against LAPD's toxic culture. It's hurting our people. It's hurting people in the Latino community, in the Black community. Every community is getting punished.
So how do you do that when you look at like the LA Police Association spent $3-4 million to defeat her when she ran against Rick Caruso. They're spending money this mayoral election. And they clearly have a lot of power in the city. I mean, going back to Bernard Parks, Willie Williams, there's a lot of people that have tried to change the culture of the LAPD. How do you do it?
So number one, and this gets at what you're saying, we got to get the money out of politics, right? It should not be allowed for anybody to be spending these hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars for their private interests, the unions, the whatever. It should be voters. If you want to make change, do it by organizing your community. Do it by talking to people. Don't just go out there spending and outspending people. This is crazy. The idea that we have a system that allows private organizations to just spend and throw hundreds of thousands of dollars attacking people or defend, it hurts the voter. Right? It means that the voters, voice is less because they're getting drowned out by all the money. So first of all, get the money out of politics. It should be illegal. We should do what I think, who just recently did this? Some other state recently, Oregon, I think, or Washington, Oregon, just banned all corporate money from all politics. You can't, or individually, like you can't donate more than $1,000 or something for any individual organization. Get the money out of politics. That's number one. Number two, you have to use the cultural power of the microphone. When you're a leader, when you're the mayor, your job is to communicate with the people and understand them. This is why, as mayor for Los Angeles, if I'm mayor, every month, I'm going to give a speech in front of City Hall, State of the City, right? I'm going to be out in public right there in front of Gloria Molina with a microphone. We're going to have a big cultural festival where everybody, all the community organizers from around LA can come out. I'm going to be there talking to them, asking them what their problems are, and then addressing the people and telling them, hey, this is what's going on in our city. This is what's working. This is what's not, right? And then hearing their feedback, and then we collectively put pressure on the police, on individuals who are preventing our city from making progress in these ways. And again, it starts by talking about it. It starts by being a cultural leader.
Would you install a new police chief?
Absolutely, 100%. Chief McDonald has not, in my experience, and from what I understand, he has not promoted the kinds of cultural reform that we need at LAPD. And I think that's the most important thing right now is we need cultural reform because the people of Los Angeles do not trust LAPD. That's a problem. The people don't want to join LAPD, so we got to pay out of county, even sometimes out of state people from Arizona and Nevada. They're coming in for 3-day shifts. We're paying them to come here because the culture here is so toxic that regular people don't want to work. So we got to change the culture at LAPD, and that's what I'll do as mayor for Los Angeles.
And what about, I know it's a lot of stuff, but mayor's a big job. What about affordable housing for regular renters, keeping people in their homes rather than into the system?
So first and foremost, I'm in favor of a rent freeze right now through the Olympics. And I'll tell you why. Because what I'm noticing, and I'm hearing this all around the city, is that landlords are starting to warehouse empty units, waiting for the 28 Olympics, waiting to Airbnb them and to, gouge when the demand is high. And so first and foremost, we got to nip that one in the bud. We got to make sure, look, the economy is tough right now. Nobody's making more money. There's no reason that rent needs to be going up for anybody in our city in the next 2 years. So I'm in favor of a rent freeze immediately. through the 28 Olympics, and then we can reevaluate it then. In terms of how we have more housing, we need more social housing. That's just the truth of the matter. The city, the state needs to own and operate high quality, subsidized, but very high quality, dignified social housing. Every other modern country in the world has this. Denmark, Sweden, Japan, anywhere, right? Just because you don't make enough money doesn't mean that you shouldn't have access to dignified housing. And that's where the government has to step in. So I want the government to own and operate apartment buildings all around. It's good when the government owns assets, right? Local government, right? I'm not talking about the federal, the state, but the local municipality. They do this already in Santa Barbara. In fact, my mom is, she's actually a resident up in a social housing situation up in Santa Barbara because our family just doesn't, have a lot of money. And it's great for her, right? It's great. I'm glad that they have that resource. So when the municipality owns things, it keeps the cost down, right? So the city should also own apartment buildings, and they should be high quality, dignified. Because if a landlord can make money off of an apartment building, why can't the city? Why can't the city own something and operate something that also does well, but for the people and not for profit?
We are talking with Andrej Selivra. He would like to be the mayor of the city of Los Angeles, and he's making the case for your vote right now. We'll keep it going when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominic DePrima when we come forward.
My name is Cynthia Mitchell. I've been an emergency room nurse in Los Angeles County for 25 years. I've been there through every fire season, every outbreak, every earthquake. Every time Los Angeles needed us, the doctors and nurses of Los Angeles County showed up. And right now, I'm seeing another disaster coming. Trump's cuts to Los Angeles County's healthcare system are a public health crisis in the making. Medi-Cal, public hospitals, disaster preparedness are all at risk. But we can stop it. Measure ER fights back against these cuts. For a half a penny, we keep emergency rooms open, care within reach for working families, and doctors and nurses serving the communities we love. When you vote yes on Measure ER, you're not just voting for health care, you're voting for LA. Vote yes on Measure ER by June 2nd.
Ad paid for by Yes on ER, Restore Healthcare for Angelinos, sponsored by St. John's Community Health and Health Justice Action Fund. Ad committee top funder, St. John's Community Health.
Let me tell you something about Los Angeles. This city doesn't have small problems, so it damn sure doesn't need small, weak leadership. That's why I support Karen Bass. She walked into a system that was slow, broken, and reluctant to change. She cut through red tape and started moving people off the streets into housing. She created the Office of Community Safety to make our neighborhoods safer, supported wage increases for many underpaid workers, expanded contract opportunities for small minority business, and signed an executive order to give formerly incarcerated people a second chance. Karen Bass is about real change. I'm Samuel L. Jackson, and I've seen a lot of people talk tough. Karen Bass is tough. That's why I'm voting for Karen Bass, and you should too. So vote today. You received your ballot in the mail by now. You don't even have to go to the polls. Just fill out your ballot and hand it to your postal worker. No stamp needed.
Paid for by Re-elect Karen Bass for Mayor 2026, 445 South Figueroa Street, Suite 2400, Los Angeles, California, 90071. Funding details at ethics.lacity.gov.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Michael's Daughter Foundation is dedicated to inspiring youth and resilience through storytelling, arts, filmmaking, and enrichment programs for youth and families in under-resourced communities and system-impacted individuals. The Michael's Daughter Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit providing free and low-cost arts programs to youth and families from under-resourced communities, both system-impacted youth and those affected by the incarceration of a loved one. 1 in 43 children in America have a parent incarcerated. 70% of those children are expected to end up in prison. Through filmmaking, animation, theater, and writing, they help young people express themselves, build confidence, and imagine new possibilities. Beyond the arts, they offer financial literacy workshops, emergency support, and scholarships. Because thriving takes more than talent, it takes access. To learn more about the impact of Michael Daughters Foundation and how you can be a part of the movement, please visit their website, michaelsdaughterfoundation.com. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The conversation continues right now with Dominic DePrima on First Things First.
We're talking with Andrej Selivra. I'm laughing because we're just having another tech discussion off the air. But he's running for mayor. He's an engineer. And one of the things you've said is that you want to improve the transportation system, expand the busway system, and add these van pools.
Yeah.
And one of the things I saw on your website is a plan that would take away street parking to create lanes for these shuttle buses or whatever they are, like vans, which sounds really efficient, but I bet you it's going to be highly unpopular because now there's no place to park. It's already hard enough to find parking in LA.
Yeah. So, great question. So, look, there's too many cars in LA. That's just the truth, right? We're seeing it's getting worse by the day. There's traffic. It's hard to get around at rush hour. Forget about it, right? And we can't build light rail fast enough. We got the 28 Olympics coming up. How are we going to move people around the city? We're going to have Ubers and Lyfts flooding in from all over all the surrounding counties and just making it gridlock here.
Well, we do have trains. We have some trains.
They go some places,
yes,
but they don't get you everywhere. And here's the problem is that we're going to have tens of thousands of tourists coming into Los Angeles, right? Those people are coming with tens of thousands of dollars each prepared to spend it in our city. If they're quarantined to one little area because there's not good ways to get around town and there's too much traffic, they're not going to spend that money. They're not going to pump their money that they're bringing from out of town into our economy. Public transit is important because it allows us to capture tourism revenue. When people hop between different places in Los Angeles, they're invariably spending money in those different places as they go around, right? This helps feed our economy. So public transit is critical to making sure that we capture the economic benefits of these events coming up. So what I'm proposing is that we expand the busway system with citywide bus lanes. And I want those lanes on specific transit corridors, right? These are our busiest streets: Venice Boulevard, Washington, Wilshire, Melrose, Hollywood Boulevard, La Cienega, Fairfax, right? Like some of these really big, long roadways. There's no reason that we should be having cars parking on the side of the road there anymore, right? Like that was fine 50 years ago when there was no traffic here in LA. You could use that free space. But now when there's gridlock, we need to free up that valuable roadway to move passengers, not just to park cars, right? It's that simple. Every other country in the world does this. I don't know. We're just we love parking so much that we just can't walk around the block to a city parking lot. Here's the thing though, is that if we remove these parking spaces, which by the way, people don't realize, LA City parking loses our city $50 million per year. They run at $160 million budget for parking enforcement and only generate $110 million in revenue. Right, so not only are we losing,
considering how many tickets they give out.
and considering they're like $80 for, it's insane. So I will first of all I want to reduce the parking fines down to $25 for anything. I mean, it's just crazy. It's such a regressive punishment. If you're struggling, you get an $80 ticket because you didn't pay your meter because you parked on a street sweeping. It's so punitive. It's honestly disgusting from our legislators that they allow that to be charged to people who can't even afford groceries. It's sick. Second of all, when we don't have these parked cars there and we open it up instead of public transit, people will be hopping on, hopping off right there in front of the business. So you don't need to have a parked car there, right? Because so many more people are going to benefit from being able to just like hop off right in front of the business. And this is one of the benefits of a shuttle bus system. Shuttle bus systems are used all over the world. They're used in Istanbul, Turkey, Paris, France, and I've used them in Mexico City. They're fantastic. They're 1/10 the cost of light rail to implement, right? Because you're just using roadway. You paint the roadway and then you got shuttle buses. They create a lot of local jobs. Instead of driving for Uber or Lyft, where you're just feeding money into San Francisco billionaires' pockets, you could be driving public transit options for the city, right? Creating a local job here, keeping that money here in the local economy, not shipping it up to San Francisco. And then additionally, when we have these types of public transit options, small businesses thrive, right? When passengers are just hopping off and they got to walk a block, right? They're going to walk by a bunch of stores, right? Right now, when they're like, oh, I want to park right in front of the store. Great. You parked right in front of the store. You got to your store. You got back in your car and you left. That's bad for business, right? What's good for business is, I jumped off a block down the way. I walked to the store. Oh, I saw that thing. Great. I'm going to go to my store. And on my way back, I'm going to stop at this other store, right? So it's actually good for small businesses when we have people walking, when we have public transit options that are street side. Parking on the side streets, we can increase parking on the side streets by 30 to 45% by implementing angle or back-in parking. And I also have a plan to reduce all LA City parking to $2 an hour, maximum $10 per day. At any of the city-owned parking lots with your first 2 hours for free. So, I think that there are ways that we can mitigate the parking issue. But like I said, we need to move towards a lower car city anyway. We need fewer cars in this city. It's just we can't keep adding cars. We need public transit. Light rail will eventually come. It's going to take 20, 30 years before we really build it out well. In the meantime, we should do what all the other amazing cities do, implement a shuttle bus system.
Well, time flies when you're on the radio, and we've almost come to the end of the hour. But Andrej Selivra, I want to make sure I say it right. Give me your 1-minute elevator pitch why we should vote Selivra for mayor.
Look, LA is my home. I'm literally fighting for my home right now. And not because it's some vanity project or because I know I have the right background, the right skills, and the right experience for this job, right? Like I'm a product of this city. I was born and raised here. I was in foster care here. I was homeless here as a teenager. I went through public school here. I went to community college. I transferred to UCLA, got my degree at our public university, graduated near the top of my class, right? I have a very high quality skill set, one of the top skill sets in my industry. People, big companies pay me to help them with very serious technical problems and challenges when their systems are crumbling. The systems of our city are crumbling. We all see it, right? Things aren't getting done. I recognize it. The people recognize it. I'm the person that people call when they need their systems fixed. That's why I'm stepping up to try to help our city right now, because I also see that our systems need to be fixed.
You can find out more at Andre for LA, but it has a J on the end. It's ANDREJ.
Yeah.
ANDREJ, the number 4, LA.com.
Yeah.
Andre for LA, but it looks like Andrej.
Yeah.
But it's Andre for LA.com. Thank you so much for coming in. It's a pleasure to talk for you.
Amazing. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Davis Smiley's up next. He's got a hot show for you today. You heard him today on my show, just a little preview, but he's got an incredible lineup for you this morning. And of course, tap in with me on social media. I'm at DiPrima Radio, DIPRIMA, and then radio everywhere. Talk to me. I talk back. You can also find the station at KBLA 1580 everywhere. Like my mama, the late great Diane DiPrima, used to say, history is now. Like I always say, we're making it together. Until tomorrow, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump says more prescription drugs are being added to the Trump RX website.
So we've slashed the price of dozens of commonly used prescription drugs by differences of $400, $500.